So one thing I realized about these videos is that having the immediacy, like having the video, making the video and then just immediately releasing it, can kind of make me into a little bit of a crack addict, because then I'm like, how's the video doing? I can't help it. Even though YouTube videos are by their very nature long-term projects. Like, you're not gonna have a YouTube video that takes off rapidly. Like, they just don't do that. And even if they do, then YouTube will test your other videos. YouTube is really a long-term strategy. It's a long-term, I don't really know what it is. It's a way of amplifying your voice around ideas. Like, ultimately you can use YouTube, and normally if you want to talk to people, you got to talk to them face to face. But it's not even just talking to people, it's just video based content. But videos are now different because everyone has a video editor and a camera in their pocket all the time. So what a video is has fundamentally changed. And because that's fundamentally changed, Jesus, this guy's gonna hit me. Want to try a life or death sport, try walking in a crosswalk in Massachusetts. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, I was in a crosswalk too, and I have a giant stick. So wow, it's like, honestly, it's only white women that I see do that. Like, I'll just be very real and call that out. It is like the entitlement of wealthy white women to just believe they can hit people with their cars. Like, earlier today, my brother and I were driving back from Boston, and this woman driving past us. Well, we didn't know who it was at first, but it's just someone like nearly murders us in like this giant lifted, like 6-wheel truck. And we're just like, and you see it's just this like fat white woman who must be wealthy. I mean, she could afford this $120,000 construction vehicle and clearly does no physical labor. So she's just murdering people, I guess. I don't know. I mean, she was unfazed by it. She's just like, yeah, I get this bumper replaced 6 times a month. I got a guy, like, it was crazy. So YouTube is this way of, so I was gonna make this video on power or focus or something. Let's make it on YouTube. I'm just gonna pick single ideas. I'm just gonna go off on the idea because it's how I get more creative about ideas. Something Jordan Peterson said that was fascinating was that people will watch a video or read a book because there's more information in the video or book than can be understood in one go. So that's what I'm trying to do, because I don't know. I mean, I just started making these videos. The first video I ever made on YouTube, so let's get back to YouTube. First video I ever made on YouTube was the I didn't sleep for 19 years video. It was the first video I ever made on YouTube and uploaded. Well, yeah, that was the first video I ever made and uploaded on YouTube. I made a YouTube channel called Devin Young. Like, it's like a Carl Jung based YouTube channel. Probably still exists somewhere. But I made that a long time ago in order to just upload. I was gonna do Jungian psychology videos, but this is the thing about making videos based on things. So on YouTube, you'll have videos based on things, or like channels based on like something. Like, I'm trying to carry my kombucha bottle of water and make a video while walking, because walking ideas, I believe, are very different than sitting ideas, because I'm making decisions about where I'm gonna go, and then where I'm gonna go is stimulating my brain. Like Nietzsche said, never trust an idea you have indoors. So if you're indoors right now watching YouTube and you're having bad ideas or something, or you just have a bad idea in general, like, go outside and go for a walk and then just think and see if the idea is different, because it is. Like, ideas are actually different in different environments. So YouTube, first YouTube video I made, I didn't sleep for 19 years. It's just me talking, and I kind of thought about making that video for a long time. I didn't really want to make it because it's just like very personal. And it's like, okay, am I going to be this personal on the internet in a searchable format for everyone to find? And I've done that before with Facebook. So Facebook, you can't really search it though, so it's different, because it's just really like, if you don't see it then, you don't see it. So there's a lack of immediacy. The necessary immediacy that isn't there with YouTube. YouTube, most people who see your video will see it years later, which is different. it's quantifiably different, and it's qualitatively different as well. I guess you can quantify the qualities potentially, but basically YouTube has this searchable aspect to it where it's optimizing stuff over search. TikTok does that as well, but I don't think TikTok is really going to take off because TikTok doesn't have a desktop based feature. And if you're doing real work, you need that. It's a little mini library. These things are really cool. I don't see anything, but I'm not really going to look that hard though, because I'm making this video and I want to stay on topic on this video because I find this interesting. So YouTube has the searchability feature to it, which Facebook does not have. So, but TikTok does have it. TikTok isn't really desktop optimized, and I don't think TikTok is it's a scroll. I don't know. I mean, TikTok lacks the desktop homepage feature, and it lacks the homepage feature. And what I can tell you actually is that most of my views come from popping up on people's desktops. It comes up right in your browser when you first, or your main channel page when you're like the main thing you come onto on YouTube when you first click on. That's where most people watch my videos. So that's different than TikTok, because TikTok is literally actually. So yeah, I probably wouldn't blow up on TikTok because TikTok is not. It doesn't have that just kind of like on the browse dashboard thing. So basically you have these different emergent properties coming out of these different platforms, and YouTube also has the ability to do videos. Like that's why I film these landscape, because you can watch these on desktop, because people can go on, they can watch a YouTube video on a desktop, and they can also upload a variety of stuff. You can go to my channel, you can find all these other things. It's like a searchable library. Then I can also organize my videos into playlists and stuff to make them easier for people to find. And it's really interesting how YouTube operates and how it's different from Instagram. If you're running a business, for instance, like Instagram and Facebook, very flash in the pan, very much the short attention span, whereas YouTube, like, you can't hide on YouTube. Like, YouTube thrives on the 45-minute, hour and a half long videos. That's really where YouTube thrives, and that's a very interesting place. This is Joe Rogan comes up. Like, Joe Rogan is a phenomenon of YouTube. So Joe Rogan's whole thing, like the whole reason that Joe Rogan is popular, or, I mean, you can't reduce it, but let's say like the force multipliers involved. I always like looking at power. I like looking at force multipliers and saying, why is this thing, and why is this other thing? Oh, there's two police officers. I was walking behind them earlier carrying my stick, and actually like moved out of the way because I didn't want to unnerve them, because that's always like walking up behind some police officers. You can see them there, but like walking up behind them carrying a stick on their six. Like I don't want to end up on the evening news. But anyway, so always looking at like force multipliers. A gun's a force multiplier. A stick's a force multiplier. A stick also is a spatial object that creates distance. It's a distance management tool, like a yardstick, but you can hit people with it, and it's more resilient. I also use it to ford streams, which I like. That's like the main reason I started carrying it was to get across streams. I was walking in the woods with my brother, and I'm just like, if I had a hiking stick, this would be so much more fun right now, because I could just get across so many more things. So the force multipliers involved, like Joe Rogan's very intelligent. He's tough. He's legitimately very tough. He's very skilled. He's funny. He has stuff outside of the Joe Rogan experience that allows it to not be his main thing. That's something actually key with YouTube. Like, I initially went on YouTube, honestly, just to share the information, see if it would like get out there and stuff. Because I was doing the health coaching thing at the time, and I was just putting the information out in so many different places. And then I started getting business from YouTube. And then I was like, oh, YouTube's a business. It's not. YouTube is not a business. This is the thing that people misunderstand about YouTube. They think that YouTube is a business. It's not. YouTube is, if anyone's read the book The Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson, he talks about high energy level and low energy level things and ranks things according to their respective levels of energy. And levels of energy roughly give you an idea just to kind of understand the energetic scale, go like 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being like total unity with God and perfect consciousness and the Buddha mind and all that, and 0 being death. And like 100 is like, I think like Angelo 30 is where like pedophilia takes place. Like there's like a lot of people have written about this stuff online. You can go check into it. But it's like insects are at a low energy level, snakes are at a low energy level, which actually, funny enough, corresponds to various metabolic patterns within snakes I could get into in a later video on metabolism itself, because that is its own topic that can be explored in the same fashion. And that's kind of the thing that I think is really good about YouTube, is this ability to explore things in this circular fashion moving outward. But I lost my train of thought moving all this stuff. But back to, I was talking with Joe Rogan and YouTube, and so Joe Rogan as a phenomenon comes from searchability, long form, just people talking, sharing information on ideas. And YouTube is so this, let's look at things that, okay, here's a way of understanding the Joe Rogan phenomenon. Terrence McKenna and Alan Watts both died before YouTube came about, but there's still some of the most popular people on YouTube. Plenty of people on YouTube who are very popular are dead. That's something I realized. That was when I went, okay, so I think I was talking about, I didn't sleep for 19 years. Oh, I thought YouTube was a business. It's like Elliot Hulse, God bless him. I think he thinks YouTube is a business. It's not. YouTube, I don't know what it is, but it's not a business. Oh, so levels of energy. So, okay, back to you. So like 100 would be like sadness, 200's like neutrality, like a train station's like 200, just kind of basic functionality, which is pretty freaking nice. And just kind of like you can rank things according to the level of energy. I mean, it's very incomplete because you need things, like things need things in order to thing. So you can't just say, oh, like this is this level of energy and blah, blah. I don't know. I don't find it that useful for that. But so let's go up 200 because I want to put YouTube on the energetic scale. So 200 would be train station. 300 would be like kind of like adventurousness itself, like athletic activity would be in like the low 300s. Going traveling would be in like the high 200s. Like 300s would be like the level of competitiveness. So like high competitiveness, like Donald Trump would be like 399-ish, just very, very, very competitive. And then 400s, according to this guy, Frederick Dodson's scale, I'm not saying I put Trump there, but that's where he puts him. So President Trump, you're watching this, I'm not reducing you. Anyway, on with the thing. So basically, yeah, Trump, like 399, like very competitive. Then you get to like the 400s, like Einstein kind of maxes out like 499, which is like the limits of rationality. And like most intellectual things kind of take place in the 400s. So I'd put YouTube in the 400s. I think once you get above the 500s, you get into like non-duality and stuff. I mean, you could get into, I'll probably get into this in another video, make a video and actually get into all my thoughts on this, because I have a lot of thoughts about this, because it's an interesting model and I find it very useful and I apply it to a lot of different things in my own thinking. So basically, so now I'm actually staying on topic more because I'm in one place, which is fascinating. Let's see if I can change topics up by moving. But basically, a lot of people on YouTube are dead. So YouTube is really kind of exists at this level of ideas. Like YouTube is, the interest in YouTube is the interest in ideas, and ideas are fundamentally acted out through people. So you can make YouTube videos that are just you walking around and talking about your life and what you do, and people can find out about that peripherally and see the ideas kind of like in action. Like YouTube is really the place of ideas. So YouTube forms this interesting place within culture that I think attention is also very, very important. Like where attention just goes. This is a new part of Newburyport that just kind of built out. But where attention goes is very useful to understand, but that's transitory. Like if I see that a lot of people's attention is going in one direction on TikTok, it's like a trend. But YouTube is where these multi-decade debates happen. That's why dead philosophers are on YouTube. You have Alan Watts, you have Terrence McKenna, you have people still watching these people on YouTube because YouTube is optimized for the long-term sharing of ideas. Like, I can clip the ideas, I can talk about the ideas here, you can find the ideas, you can search them. But I think it's around people though. Like, the ideas are kind of centered around people. Like, I can't really locate ideas to a category. Like, I'd say, like, oh, like, this is a geological idea. Like, oh, Graham Hancock on the Joe Rogan Experience is talking about how the earth is, or how civilization is 25,000 years old at the least, and how various geological events happened, and Randall Carlson's talking about that too. But that's geological, so that has nothing to do with history, because history is history, and that's a different, like, we don't really know what these categories are. I think there's like even the Western canon. Like, what is the Western canon? Is literature history? I think literature is history, because like what's the difference between literature and history? So much of what we know about history comes from literature, and we understand literature by putting it in history. So, is literature history? Well, yes and no. And like, ultimately, how do we categorize these things? So I think that it's all kind of practical, ultimately. Like, it's all, like, this is Ford's ideas too. So it has to be practical. It has to be grounded in how you actually use the information. So Peterson talks about this on YouTube. Peterson's another person who's popular on YouTube. His lectures will be popular for a very long time. So he says that he wants all of his ideas that he shares to be, in his lectures, to be practicable. Because if they're not practicable, then he doesn't really understand why someone would watch the video. So he wants all this stuff to be put into practice. So one practical thing of this is, if you want to get ideas out there, go on YouTube. If you want to make a lot of money, I would say potentially invest in Instagram or something. But that's really challenging. Like, I think I'm studying the Instagram game, and I'll just get into this briefly, even though this is a video on YouTube, is I think that, like, the Instagram ad strategy and stuff is, and like the whole, it's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money. Like, you want long-term attention, and long-term attention is going to come from really understanding what people are talking about. Like, the long, like, reality, ultimately. Like, that video I made in Insomnia blew up because it's ultimately about reality. So you're gonna watch that if you have insomnia, and people have insomnia, so people watch it. And like Instagram and stuff, Instagram is more trends. Like, you'll have like just these emergent trends. Like, health coaching is a trend. I don't know if people are gonna be watching videos on how to be a health coach in 50 years. And that's sort of how you think about it. Like, YouTube has, I guess, the longer term you can make your videos on YouTube, the better. So YouTube, and this is what I'm actually trying to do. So I realized YouTube wasn't a business. YouTube is how you share ideas. So I've optimized my business around a certain understanding of the internet, effort, power laws, and staying power. Like, staying power is really big. So ultimately, because I love ideas and I'm very much into ideas, very nerdy in that way. I love books. I'm always reading about ideas. Like, I'm really into ideas, and I like to evaluate them aggressively. So if you just like to read books, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like aggressively evaluating ideas to get to the truth, which means dismissing 99.99% of what's written, because it's kind of BS, but there's some good stuff out there though. So ultimately, I'm trying to make my videos, and it's also like organizing my own thoughts. Like, I don't necessarily know how to make a video on a topic. Like, what even is that? Because, like, what's the topic? You know what I'm saying? Like, that involves me understanding how everyone else in the human race is evaluating the association of this idea with the practice and relation of other ideas. I don't know that. I do not understand how that goes down in everyone's brain across time for all these things. So And that's what makes promoting things very difficult too. So like people will use these social media strategies and force multipliers in order to convert money into customers by elaborate means of marketing in order to make more money. And it's sometimes successful, which generates a lot of people trying to do the same thing. But what the issue is there is that you're fighting upstream. You're trying to turn the internet into something it's not. The internet isn't a place. And I think this is what Zuckerberg is trying to do with Meta, like making like places you can go online, like turning the internet into a place. That's fascinating, actually. So Mark Zuckerberg with the Meta thing, and then that Ready Player One is trying to turn the internet into a place. So I actually don't think this is going to work, because I don't think that people go online for the same reasons that they go around in public. Like, I could see people having the desire to, well, but there's an in-person element of things, and there's this element of exclusivity that comes with impersonness. Like they say in Ready Player One, everyone was on the internet because that's where everyone was. But I don't think everyone wants to be where everyone is. Like, because that's chaos. Like, if you had, I think that's really a lot of what would happen online, is like pure chaos with no staying power. If you were to have, yeah, that would be crazy to make businesses based on that. Like, they would try to artificially create staying power, but they wouldn't be able to do it though, because people are finicky. So like, you can't, it's even hard to create artificial stability in societies. Like, it's very, like, long-term stability in order to do business is actually not the norm, because you have wars happen, wars disrupt commerce, and you get this regression to the mean of basically like everything is warfare, and everything is warfare. But this spread of information, partially through YouTube and through the printing press, even, I say the printing press is allowed for information to spread. So YouTube is like a no, I'm not live, just recording now. But you could have said something intelligent, but now the world will remember you as the man who did that forever. It's the power of YouTube. But anyway, so I just wanted to say that because it'll bother him forever. Like, I'm like, you could have said something intelligent, but now the world, like, literally, hey dude, like, watching this in 50 years. But anyway, so I like to say things that, like, I'm not just gonna insult him. I'm gonna say something that'll bother him deeply the older he gets and the more he thinks about it. But anyway, so YouTube is really like an extrapolation of the printing press. It's this ability to disseminate ideas faster and faster. But YouTube, because of this, has to be grounded in personality, because a book has to be indexed by its creation. But a YouTube video can't really be indexed because of its free-flowing nature of talking about things. Like, it's a video, it's fundamentally different. Like, movies, video, all this stuff is fundamentally different than books, because books are like indexes. Like, the symbols are different, but this isn't symbols, this is recording, which is different, even if you alter the recordings the way of a movie. So ultimately, I think YouTube does really well in the long form range centered around what people think, because ultimately we want to know what people think, and sometimes we want to know about an idea, and that's what books do well. Like, books that do well over a long period of time center around ideas that people think about in a steady way for a long period of time. Like, if I write a book on how to get really good at winning disc golf, I don't know how long disc golf is going to be around, but let's say I made a book on like how to throw a very particular type of disc golf. I don't know, I don't do disc golf. Let me make something. I don't know, like how to make a ton of money as a Facebook health coach. Like, unless the book is fundamentally about something more than that, if it's just a technical manual, I guess books can fall in the category of like technical manuals, ideas, experiences. They're forms of recording as well, but they're necessarily indexed in a way that a video isn't. A video, the benefit of the video and why I like to make them free form and long form is mostly because Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna, and the people that I admire make their videos that way. And I just see that and I'm like, well, success leaves a trail. And ultimately I found that just following my own gut on these things, like I took people's advice in the past on business and it doesn't really help. Ultimately, I don't think anyone knows how to do business. Like fighting, it's like no one really knows how to fight. I mean, there's certain things actually that are like physics in fighting. That's really cool. It's like grappling is so interesting. Like positions, study of position is really useful. Force multipliers, again, training methodology, but the long-term and short-term effects of training methodology, all of these things, strategy, it's really very holistic. But basically what YouTube is doing is, so a video, you can see the ideas forming as I'm actually thinking them, which is really useful so you can start to understand the creation of the idea. A book is useful, or a product is useful for its finished quality. So that's where I make YouTube into the long arm of the pole of my business. So I have my business and I have YouTube where I just make videos and ideas. I've realized that is the power of YouTube. I make videos and ideas and topics. Like this is the video, I'll just title it YouTube. And it'll be a video on YouTube, and I'll make other videos in this way because I find this much more interesting than making videos on like to be like, this is what YouTube is doing for you. I don't really know what YouTube is doing for you. I have a lot of thoughts on YouTube and I'm going to tie them together in interesting ways like a web. But it's not going to be a bridge. Like I'm not bridging you from one place to another because like I don't really know where you're going. I'm just kind of making a web. I'm like, okay. And the center of the web is YouTube, I guess. Actually, no, it is because I made it the center of the web. But is it though? You know, because maybe this is really about my journey to understand communication or something, or your ability to see how this guy who did so-and-so in jiu-jitsu and wrestling and business and whatever, like, and like, you know what I mean? Like how this guy understands this topic or how this guy thought about making YouTube videos. Like, it's just very meta. Like, I don't know what it's doing because I don't even understand the technology fully. Like, I don't understand what a video is. A video hasn't been around that long. Like, do we even understand the ultimate implications of a sword? I think maybe at this point we kind of understand the implications of a sword, but I think we've probably forgotten it. It's probably taken on new meaning and a new context, and there's just still, like, what is, can we reduce anything to its temporal function? I don't think so. I think that those are emergent properties. So I'm going to treat it like that, and then I'm going to do my best in that light. So this is YouTube. So YouTube forms the idea end of the business, which is just very open-ended. This is where I discuss all these ideas. So if you're like, okay, I'm interested in YouTube, you can come to this video and you can find out everything I think about YouTube. The more specific propositions that I have are products. Because if I have a very specific proposition and I strongly believe that there's an action people should take, and I'm trying to convince them around that action, I'm just going to simply make them a useful product that is that action itself embodied. Because ultimately, that is a much more powerful way to communicate than to just try to convince people, ultimately. Because, I mean, you're either going to think something or you're not. Like, if I convince you by effort, then I have to keep convincing you by effort, and that's a pain in my butt. I don't want to do that. It's not enjoyable for me. It doesn't make me happy when I go home to my wife and kids, which is something I do every day. So I like to be in a good mood. So I have to do things that I enjoy for my work. So I'm like, how do I be of service to people via this medium that I found to be a very effective force multiplier that I can use while not hating myself in my life? Well, I do that by making videos around topics, and then people can connect these things. Maybe if I have a specific video requested, I'll make a video answering that, but I don't really know. I mean, that's an interesting thing too, is like, that's like a record of a communication. Like, if I just think up an idea in my head, I don't know, I think like I have like other things that like certain times ideas come to me. They kind of emerge up. Like I have like videos that are in the making in my mind that aren't me talking on a topic like this, because I have a lot of thoughts on topics. Like I have like power, like I think about power a lot, and I'm just probably gonna make a video series on power. I'm just gonna talk about power like this and see what comes out. But then I also have other things that I'm like specifically working on, like how do we optimally train over a 20-year period, given the nature of the metabolism and all, and like the body and adaptations and movement quality and adaptations to movement quality and all this stuff. How does that, how do we do that? It's a how to. And I'm kind of like just thinking about that. Like that's a video that'll come out. Like maybe I can make it more like course-like videos and stuff. But again, those course-like videos, actually, I may make those subscription. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you have to like pay for those. I don't really know. I mean, because, well, no, I guess I think I'll give that information. I mean, I want to use the media most effectively. If someone's paying for information, I want it to be because that benefits them. Because if it doesn't benefit them, then I have to convince them that it benefits them. And if I have to convince someone that it benefits them, then that takes effort. And if I have to put in effort, you see how this goes? Like, I have to keep on doing that forever, and that's my life. And I don't want to spend my life just convincing people of these things. I like it when things are nice and simple. So I make my ideas simple to consume. They're consumable supplements. It's awesome. It's not even a metaphor. It's just where the metaphor and reality and language meet at the vertex of infinity. I love it. So yeah, YouTube is this force multiplier. I was only gonna make this video 20 minutes. It's going on 30 minutes now. I got like people to be and places to see. So I'm gonna peace out right now, but enjoy YouTube and tune in for YouTube part 2 and more amazing content.